Welcome back there.
Thank you. Good to have you back.
You missed nothing while you were gone.
Yeah, it seems that way.
It's a very uneventful.
You leave town for a few weeks and everything goes to shambles. What is going on?
Insurrections happen when they happen.
We are here.
We can all chill again as a city.
We're joined by the man of the hour.
The former rebuild ambassador guy. You got to mention the former.
So lots changed since the last pod. You added an adjective.
I'm a
Former.
civilian again.
How are you feeling?
I'm actually, to be honest, guys, I'm feeling a lot more relieved because all this while I felt like I was trying to, thread a very fine needle, right? I had to, placate it, walk on eggshells. Council members telling me this, residents telling me this, and my approach was, okay, we gotta collectively make this work. And there comes a point when you see that it's not working, but you wanna keep going because you're seeing incremental progress. Internally you still.
Progress, right?
Internally, you still feel that it's not enough, right? I mean, 9 months later, whatever, 2 permits and things like that, but you still go to the meetings and, okay, there's still movement, so let's not blow it up. Let's just keep it going. And that was the mindset. But then you get a call like that on Friday, and that was fine. So that was, one sort of shot at it. And then Sunday.
Can I clarify with that? You got a call saying that they were going to hand you some proverbial flowers, give you an award for your service.
Yeah.
But what was really happening was they were going to let you go, relieve you from your duties.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
That was out of nowhere.
The call came 6 p.m. on Friday, and anytime something happens that late on a Friday, you know that, it hasn't been
Bad news.
It's usually bad news, right? So maybe good news, I don't know. But yeah, so it was going to be a commendation for an outstanding job that I'd done, whatever, and that would also mark the end of my assignment. And I was actually beginning the conversations. I know you guys, we had spoken about that already within this group, but even with staff, we had just kind of started to converse as to what that transition is going to look like. It said, okay, maybe we should do an alternative meeting a week with all the zone captains and another week with me alone, because both would be separate sort of topics. There's one set of topics that you can discuss amongst 4 or 5 people, and there's another set of topics that you can discuss among 16 or 20 people in the room. So both have their place, and we had those discussions going in. And then I get this call. So I said, what the hell is going on? And I asked,
Well, there is a time and a place for the complicated discussions, which you were having, and then the overall discussions,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
everybody could benefit from.
yeah, and sometimes
And the tool meetings were needed.
And sometimes in smaller meetings, you gotta take names. I mean, that's what it is. At the end of the day, there are people working, and some of them are working great, and some of them aren't, and some of them are not in the right place, and they might have the best intentions and all that stuff. But in any event, so that came as a surprise, and of course, I immediately sort of chatted with our team, our MRTF, and they blew up. I mean, as I was on the phone with Candace, I could see the text thread, and it was just going. And I said, Candace, I can't even listen to you talk because there are so many messages that are coming through.
Well, we were shocked. We were angry. We were in disbelief. It felt like for the last month or so, let's say, that things were progressing, and everybody in the city, the council, the residents, the task force, we were on the same page. We were trying to make this thing work. But in the background, we came to realize they didn't like what was happening. They didn't like those difficult meetings that you just mentioned, and they wanted to put a stop to them. And I think their idea is that removing you, and you have sort of a built-in authority with your experience as a builder, and also an authority within the group, removing you from that position of power and just bringing all of us children, all of us acolytes in.
More a position of influence than power, actually.
And a guiding influence, right?
Exactly.
Helping guide the right conversations at the right time.
They say divide them and conquer, right? So
Well, I
maybe
think
that's
that
the-
these meetings with 15 to 20 people, which what you said, that's what we're going to get from now on, will be much easier for the building official the city manager to sort of present information that we can disseminate and become mouthpieces for, and not get information,
feedback.
questions coming back
Yeah,
upstream.
yeah. And, if that's how everybody felt about it, that's fine. The problem is that it didn't have to be covert. Look, now they're putting out press releases and stuff, putting out my contract. It was a 3-month contract, and that's no secret. I mean, that was signed. When all of that was happening, everybody said, "Man, they're trying to clip your waves even before this thing started with all the contractual stuff and so on and so forth." But the contract was over back in August.
And it showed that it had to be
August
discussed.
21st, a month and a half ago.
And it was supposed to be, there was supposed to be a review of your project. Your project.
Yes, it was supposed to be evaluated. So the covert nature of this was disturbing. So even if you wanted to do this, there's a proper way to approach it. That's number one. But what really was hurtful, and when it got personal, when it started getting personal, and that was on Sunday. I started to get drifts of stuff that were being said about me. So the Whisper campaign that began, and from what we surmise, we don't know this to be a fact, is that each one of the council members sort of got a call individually and not as a collective. So I don't think anybody else knew what the other person was hearing or knowing for Brown Act reasons or whatever it is. And it was sort of like, okay, if this is the direction everybody else wants to go, if this is the direction you guys think is appropriate. There was one council member that asked, does Abe know about this? And maybe that's when I got the call.
So there was a
Wait a minute, we should inform him, yeah. Because what we heard about was the combination, and there was a lot of suspicion. What does it really mean? Because, of course, he did a great job. He deserves a commendation, but that nuance, like, people use that language when they want to.
Well, it's very, very premature, because my understanding, maybe I'm an idealist, but my understanding of your position as a rebuild ambassador was to shepherd every rebuilding homeowner until all 720 were back home. So there are 2 permits issued so far, 2 out of 720.
It's a 20-year gig for him?
I mean, he volunteered, and they cut you off before you even started to crawl.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I viewed my role as getting 720 people shepherding it back home. I thought I would view it more as we had a number of issues to work through.
Yeah, setting
And
up
we still have
for success.
And once those issues are worked through, and you're no longer finding sort of common issues across the board from residents, then our job is relatively done. There are going to be still idiosyncratic, specific homeowner by homeowner specific home issues, but we still have a bunch of broader things to deal with. And it's a format which was interesting enough, just starting to sort of kick into motion. I mean, everything takes time. We put the zone captains in place immediately after I got appointed. And all of that was just starting to, sort of work out together. And then this thing, so this thing happened. So the covert nature of it was certainly a problem, but when the attacks started to get personal, that was all like, okay, man, this is not a working. When I was told the commendation thing, I said, there's no way I'm going to stand up there and accept an award.
Even if it was just a commendation without anything else.
So there's no way. That's offensive. And every time people do that, we always cringe sitting in the audience.
If it was advertised, if it was communicated that it was agendized, it was discussed first by council, hey, we should talk about Abe, next steps, we should vote if we want to extend. That's what the contract said, right? It said this has to be voted, and that's why this was a surprise. But I wonder, what do you think was the cause of this abrupt change and Friday last minute agendized to Monday?
They speculate. I mean, we'll never know the entire truth, but I think there was a level of uncomfortableness with the meetings. I don't think staff appreciated sort of being questioned or whatever.
Malibu times are
Of course, Malibu
from the
times.
previous week.
Malibu times are actually it was last week. It feels like a long time. The last Thursday, right? Feels like so much has happened. Feels like an eternity, but. It was last Thursday, Malibu Times put out an article which I had some very critical remarks. Nothing that I hadn't said in public before. Nothing that actually one or two of the council members had even said in
No
public
real
before.
news. No real news.
But it was very challenging. It was pretty direct, and maybe that was the trigger.
If I can psychoanalyze a little bit from a distance, from across PCH, I would say that the pressure is coming down on the city of Malibu because the facts are obvious. We have 2, hey, Three,
Three.
as of today.
Yeah.
50%. Yes, yes, they'll claim that we've increased our pace by 50%. There's pressure coming in from the state level, the state building department, from the media, obviously from the residents, from the public. How can 2 permits have been issued 9 months later? And in the meantime, you're in the rooms, you're kind of holding them to account. It's easy to blame you for everything they're feeling. But that is not going away, newsflash. That pressure is not going to go away because you didn't create the problems. The problems are there. The problems are obvious for all to see.
But here's the thing, though, is that I was sort of, in the community info session and stuff, I was actually speaking for, in many instances, look at, how many priorities they got to deal with, staffing is a challenge and this and that. Speaking for. I was
Like a
actually
true
voice-
ambassador. You're speaking how good they were handling this mess.
So we were invited to all the info.
And so that's the piece that it's a bit of a head scratcher because I actually thought that I was starting, and that's what I told in my conversations. I told some of the council members, guys, you don't understand that I'm standing like a dam between
Yeah, I know.
the residents and staff.
We were the most.
Because I'm like absorbing so much stuff. There's so many conversations that I continue to have, walking people off the ledge of this and that, understand this and so on.
You would always take their side. You would always offer the reason. Residents say, well, why don't they just skip this, requirement? Why don't they cut out this part of the code? You'll say, well, they're required to follow this. There's a reason that they do.
Yeah.
Building code. It was, and in public especially, you always gave them their flowers.
So that's the piece that is a head scratcher, that either they didn't understand what I was doing or they had no appreciation at all.
They never had someone like you, kind of holding them accountable. Some sort of audit, constant audit. Does it get comfortable when you have so much power to do things without anyone telling you more or less, except for council, right? And council wants to support the staff, and we do support the staff too. We want them to work as good as possible. But someone criticizes you, that creates this, depending on your level of comfortability and your,
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to have a thick skin to be in a city staff position. I get that. But my previous dealings with other AHJs is there's always a formal way to complain and then a social way to complain about anything tied to building plan check. And so does Malibu not have that process? Because that seems crazy to me. They should have that process. Applicants can always challenge their
Yeah,
degree.
there's always, and there's a way. I mean, one of the beauty, Malibu, was that staff is very approachable. But I think also maybe one of the triggers was this idea of checking with LA County and how they're.
I think that could-
They did like a comparison.
They didn't like the comparison right from the get-go. There was like, we're different, why do we need to talk to LA and so on? And it's okay, maybe we are different. How does it hurt? It's
not my alley.
to have a one-hour conversation with this guy. If the top guy in LA building is willing to give us their time.
Yeah.
And their insights and share, maybe nothing comes out of the conversation.
But at least listen for an hour.
Well, at least listen.
Or 10.
Please listen, yeah.
They made changes. They suffered the same disaster we did, and they made changes. Let us hear what those changes were. Oh my goodness, we might hear a good idea. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Bring it to the table. It doesn't mean you could say we don't want to implement that idea, or we would have a problem implementing that idea. Fine, but at least hear it.
Yeah, I haven't driven through the Palisades in a minute. Is there much more construction activity?
Okay, yeah.
They go traveling down the sun and say, out by plywood everywhere.
You see, so the base, the waterproofing of the house is going on before the stucco gets on, so yeah, there's.
So to Malibu staff's credit, right? Like the Palisades, how much? 6 times more homes built, right? And their geography.
We are not talking about percentages.
But I know, and then they have less challenging topography, but still challenging.
But
as
see,
well.
that's what we heard.
According to the building official, they have 20% geologically sensitive topography that matches Malibu. You're right. So 80%.
So they should be 6 times faster. They should have 6 times the amount of approvals that we have because they had 6 times the amount of fire victims.
Yeah, but they have, what was it, 240 times the approvals.
240 times. I mean,
Yeah, some insanely
Oh, it's an order of
different
magnitude.
number.
I mean, here's the thing, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to self-analyze these numbers. It comes very simply from the top. The philosophy from the top guy at LADBS is like, this is the first thing you say on the call. It's like, look guys, we're building a house. This is not rocket science. This is very easy. We're building a house. And this is what we've been saying all along.
Yeah, it's not a train station.
No.
It's not an
Dave,
arena.
There's another challenge for staff.
Please.
So I know I'm playing devil's
No,
advocate
we
in
love
favor of the
staff.
staff. I don't know.
We disagree
No, but
with, I at least disagree with leadership
The staff
and
is not trained
strategy.
to. I'm gonna speak for them now. One of the first times.
please.
Please, they just unified all the departments, right, under the community development. So that, there's an excuse right there that takes time.
That was 4
And-
months ago. It's not just
Listen,
though. This
listen.
is like 4 months.
And they're promoting the same people. It's not like we're bringing in, it's just this, we're shuffling people around. We created a rebuild center, great. LA created essentially they created a rebuild center. But you know what they did? They filled it with engineers who
And the
could
most
stamp
experienced
plans.
ones.
And
Most
didn't they
experienced
choose the experienced ones?
The most experienced ones, that's right.
We have a building official who either chooses not to or is incapable of approving plans.
Well, we keep hearing that, staffing up is a problem, understandably so.
But that's my
There's a-
point. So you can't fill City Hall with engineers right away. Okay. Well, you
Well,
have.
what is right away though? I mean, it's been 10 months.
I
What is right away?
That's the
Like
problem.
wage corporation, this is the message I told Doug after he commented that, onboarding takes a while and the consultants and stuff. I understand all that.
But had he started in February, the onboarding would be done by now.
In February, we spent all our time in leasing the building, opening up the rebuild center, setting up all of these things and, whatever. But where is the focus on staffing? We've had these openings. It's not a money problem. We're not saving any money by going to consultants. If anything, we're probably spending more money.
Overpay. Go poach some engineers from LA. Go poach them from Orange County.
And here's the
They're
thing,
around.
Orange County building activity, construction activity has reduced dramatically.
You think people don't want to
Slow down.
commute? Sure, people don't want to commute. Pay them more. They'll commute.
Or have a platform that allows them to electronically commute.
So do we
Like
want
the remote work.
consultants? Wait, do we want consultants or not? Now you're telling me that you want consultants.
If it's,
No, this is not.
well,
there's a
if it's a
difference.
better consultant than the one that's currently being
To me, there's a
employed,
difference
yes.
between somebody who's a contract employee
Exactly.
versus a consulting company, right? I mean, so when we talk about people like Cotton Shire, True North, Bureau Veritas, these are consulting companies that are loaning people to us. Okay, independent contractors would be employees, but they may not be on a W-2, they may be on a 1099 contract. That's.
But those did a learning curve in
Unless-
very complicated Malibu code, which is what I would
Well,
be facing
I
years
will-
ago.
Not the LA
I'll
engineers.
I'll differ on that, because the Malibu code part is necessary for the first piece of it, the planning approvals. The second part of it is reviewing construction plans.
It's regular building
Well,
construction.
except for the geotechnical
that
side.
can still be
That's
engineering
like
expert.
construction stuff. You're talking about coefficients and frictions, the type of soil, this is pretty standard stuff, whether you're reviewing it in Laguna Beach or in Malibu.
Yeah, and what Santa Rosa did after the Tubbs fires, they brought in California experienced plan reviewers from other jurisdictions. They all worked remotely to get through all of the applications. It was a NorCal thing. The state, I think, may have had something to do with getting that organization together, but it wasn't exceedingly complicated, meaning it's possible.
Remember, we were competing with Pasadena and
Yeah.
Pasadena fires, right? The Eden fire. So
Fair
just
enough.
to
But that pool of California plan reviewers is probably bigger than what Los Angeles is demanding.
and now with remote working, we can get people from all around.
I mean, look, remote working is happening right now.
Yeah.
Bringing
Yeah.
The
people
guys are in True North and Bureau Veritas are not sitting here
Yeah.
in City Hall.
Exactly.
They're in Pasadena, okay, or in Venture, or wherever they are. So everything is happening electronically anyway. So this whole thing about, relocating and stuff, that's all nonsense. So why is it taking 10 months? And
I think part of it, and this is more big picture. Malibu has a problem admitting that it's doing poorly. I mean,
They are giving awards, though.
It's an ego for us.
yes, and on that, our mayor, I don't usually like to publicly give performance reviews, but our mayor will not admit that the Woolsey rebuild has been a failure. That's shocking to me. But what that also means, opinions are fine, but you're in leadership. What that means is that changes were not implemented after 2018, which is why we're stuck doing this right now, which is why Abe was in his position, why this task force has been created. It should never have happened. We should have had our system fixed after the horrible Woolsey fire, and we haven't. And yet we hear things at council meetings like we should give out awards for a master class in rebuilding, which is being taught here in Malibu. It's Orwellian. It's complete bullshit doublespeak. It's the complete opposite of the truth.
A few weeks after the fire, our mayor told people who demanded changes, everything's in place. Just start your application. Just start your application so that you're going to go through.
Or visit us at the Rebuild Center, which I'm not a fan
Look,
of. When you don't know what you have to do, but
that's my biggest takeaway from this weekend. Is right there is a fundamental belief that we're okay, and we don't need to hear or collaborate or get inputs from others and things like that. We are okay. We got this.
But is it on ego or intent?
I have a
Maybe it's
theory
both.
though. And
Maybe the
it's
intent
both.
is they just want to stop development for even rebuilders because, you know, they like Malibu.
I don't think
rural
so. I
And
think-
wild and not developed at all.
I'm gonna give you my theory now, and I love this group because we can disagree a lot. And I'm playing devil's advocate right now. You were a devil's advocate with Bruce. That is my kind with Marianne. So here's the thing. Marianne was part of the staff in Malibu for a long time. And you guys are now into the Malibu politics. Staff is usually beaten is the word, like
Yes, whipped.
by mostly by planning commission, right? And lately by council too. So we have a problem. Like staff doesn't want to work here. So Marianne came up as the champion for staff. And I think that's something noble, I have to say. So she's like the mother of the staff, and she's gonna protect them no matter what. And that's good when that doesn't remove the priority from the residents. And I think that this is where we are. I think that there was a misread of the situation.
This is where I
But
get
it's
really,
justified by
really
this.
confused.
Yeah.
Because I don't see why those two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah, helping us sort of
Understand.
helping the
The ability that the staff feels threatened, she's gonna
But
take
you
the
don't
stand.
have to, but that's what I'm saying, the culture, nobody. Look, I'm the first one who wants to take it away from the staff, the blame away from the staff, because I always say that they're the keepers and the executors of a very, pardon my French, fucked up process.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
They're victims like you guys.
So
are.
we gotta acknowledge that it is not staff, and that's what I was trying to share in my presentation. The last line clearly said it is not a staff problem, it's not a resident problem, it's a collective process problem.
I think that this hasn't been recent. When you say recently, I think you mean like 2 or 3 years ago. Some of the attacks on staff, big problem.
If you watch planning commissions, not now, you're not much now, but before it was. I feel bad for
The
them.
staff 100% deserves protection and respect from all of us. But I don't think the staff would mind a change of strategy to implement. The 250 engineers moved into the fast lane in LA were complaining and quitting and saying it was a change of, the leadership said, let's do this, and they got on board. Staff would of course get on board.
Own leadership.
Strong leadership.
I think Marianne is a deeply, very kind and well-meaning person. Atsu, she's a very warm-hearted, well-meaning person, but you can't lead a city on kindness. You need to make very difficult decisions.
She's tough
there
with
needs-
me. She's very
there
tough.
needs
When
to
I
be a
speak in
balance.
public, she always.
There needs to be a balance.
Exactly, yeah.
That kindness, but also change course when needed. Don't stick to this idea that everything's great. If people would just walk into the rebuild center, everything would be perfect for them. No.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
So I know we don't have enough applications right now, but there's 17 sitting in plan check that could be approved.
The 18 according to
Put them on the
is
building
bad.
official's desk, have her stamp one a day. What's the problem?
So I think that the bottom line is Marianne should understand that us telling staff leadership to do better is not an attack to staff. It's just please, you have to do better.
So-
Don't take it personally.
And I think that's what we were trying, right, all this while.
So
Over the
why
last
is
4
this-
months, that's what we've been trying to do. It's like, let's get together, let's be one team, let's change this us versus the narrative. All this happened. And then this thing happens at the weekend where it becomes amply clear that they don't want this, right? And then Saturday evening, I start getting rumblings of these personal attacks. So I was okay, this crosses the line.
That's
This is crossing
Uncalled
the line.
for, unnecessary.
Well, I think
underhanded.
if I can make an assumption of what happened, this idea to sort of let you go on Monday was hatched. And then there was immediate pushback individually to all the council members that people have relationships with. What is going on here? And the council members took a step back and said, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should rethink this.
Because they were not involved.
So their first,
Well, they were not, but you spoke
everyone
to
I
all of
spoke
them.
to, everyone I spoke to was either openly surprised or navigating it in a very political correct fashion.
Because they were aware of
They
it.
have
Pointing
all
to-
been,
They got the heads up.
Pointing to,
Yeah.
let's wait for the discussion on Monday, as if there's going to be a discussion.
but they're all made aware of the personal attack.
But this is my point. So there wasn't all of a sudden by Saturday total acceptance of this idea. So then they started coming up with this backup plan, which is, oh, Abe is doing this, he's taking advantage of the position, blah, all this horse shit that started being floated around. And I would never have behaved as calmly as you did. I truly would
I
not.
don't think anybody would.
It was below the belt. It was unacceptable. It was unbecoming of this city. And the residents, and you especially, deserve an apology from leadership for that happening.
Well, I mean, I think that was basically the moment where I realized that this is done, right? This is done. The relationship can never be the same again. I mean, we can be cordial, we can be professional, whatever it is, but this is an attack which is just absolutely uncalled for, especially from those that were fabricating the attack. Were fully there. I mean, Marianne was present at my groundbreaking in Palisades. The first groundbreaking, we took photos. There was media. Malibu Times published an article. CBS did a segment with all of us there. So this was obvious. I mean, how many times have I been in the Regal Center and talked about my plans? Am I getting any favorable treatment? No. I'm getting the same sheets of corrections like everybody else. My plans are stuck in line. I'm waiting like everybody else. And if anything, Luis, you know this better than anybody. You start to sound critical of the city. Man, I mean, the residents don't like it that much. You're not in favor.
That is the irony. Marianne participates in the groundbreaking of your house that you are building as a builder, and a few months after that, the city manager goes like, "Oh, you're a builder?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's why you're the ambassador, because you have experience building.
But you're first sent.
And then what about the thing that I'm going to China?
And then waste that, I mean, many planning commissioners are also builders and electricians, and you're right.
Their accusations are flying. It's just totally fabricated. Oh, you're in with the Mowbray brothers now? You're gonna.
That was.
I mean, where does this stuff come from?
It wasn't a joke.
Uh-huh.
I got a text message, said, hey, I'm hearing this. Is this true? And I was so upset. I didn't even want to respond. I sent the link to our pod and I said, listen for yourself and figure out whether I'm going to China or not.
I think that this happens when you come to the Malibu Times, you become relevant. This is, people are gonna say.
By the way, I was the one kissing ass in that meeting with the Mowbray brothers. I wanted them to buy my lot. They're buying all my neighbors. You were being totally objective.
You're not selling your lots. You're rebuilding, bro.
And what was the other one? The other one was even more ridiculous, right? That I introduced myself as the
ambassador of Malibu.
I think that was a telephone game mistake too. Like,
Well, it may be a mistake, but first of all, how does it even matter?
Doesn't matter. It's
How does it even matter? Because
The
no-
throw out accusations like
there's
that
no-
is
there's no-
very, very
But
underhand.
here's the interesting thing. Nobody asked. They all knew that I had a conversation. Nobody asked
Yeah.
how it went.
But the
And what did I
interesting
learn
thing
from
was
the conversation?
the conversation that I had with that council member, who said, "Well," and that person didn't hit to you being released of that position would be a done deal. He just said, "Wait for the conversation, and then for the council discussion," and then he said, "Well, but Abe has done a couple of things that he shouldn't have," and that's why I was like, "Huh." Well, what did he do? And he introduced himself as the ambassador of Malibu. And
you be
I was
ambassador
like-
for a city?
And
I don't know how you explain this
at
one.
the UN, maybe.
That's just Singapore.
First of
I'm
all,
100% sure that Abe did not do that.
First of all,
100%
I heard the
convinced-
email.
First of all, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's a semantic error.
look,
if anything.
here's what-
Second of all, you would never do that because you say your title all the
You're the
time in
something
different
ambassador.
contexts.
But here's what gets so weird.
It's an email that I
Here's
sent.
what-
He didn't say he was the king of Malibu.
And then I say, I'm 100% sure that's a misunderstanding. And the response was, well, that's not a good misunderstanding to have.
If you want
As if
to
you
look
were
at
in
it as
control of all misunderstandings of the world.
Naughty, jeez. Anyway, so be that as it may, I mean, of course, what happened on Monday happened. I think I was very proud of the way our team
Actually,
showed up.
and you asked us, right? And I was one of the ones that I was still hopeful that you could stay there, but you never know what I feel like you're doing a good thing, and
Well, but yes, I mean, look, I mean, I was there and will continue to do good things. My calculus was this, is that in the format that I was there, it's not going to be effective because of all this shit that has.
but what if they apologize? What if they vote?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the mindset. Even if they did that, look, I mean, Marianne acknowledged, on public that a mistake was made and so on and so forth.
She offered you to change your mind.
Yeah, she said if I would consider rescinding the resignation or whatever, so council could have a discussion and all that stuff. And I said, look, I think we are past that, and I personally wouldn't want hours and hours of deliberation on whether Abe should be reappointed or not, and then go back into that same mode of staff resisting, and now it's gonna be even more awkward.
Yeah.
We respect.
It seems
that.
like
See, for the-
that era and time of collaboration directly behind closed doors that you had access to, that's gone. It's now going to be city dictating to the whole MRTF what they're.
But that's what I'm saying, it doesn't have to be dictated.
I for his own captains.
It
Or
or
some captain.
Well, the MRTF is, includes its own captains, but that was my other sort of realization, is that as the chair of MRTF, as part of the MRTF, we can still continue to sort of do the same work. We can voice the same kind of concerns. We need an outlet, and if we aren't getting an outlet, then we speak out.
I mean, my fear is it's going to get very slow. It'll be much slower than it was, and it was extremely slow beforehand, and now it's just going to slow down more because instead of one Thursday, it's going to be like 10 talking at once.
And also the
It's going to get diluted and lost.
I think it's a possibility, but it doesn't have to be like that. There's also a possibility that will not happen, and we need to acknowledge that possibility and fight for that.
Because there were promises done, right? Like they made promises.
They made promises.
They made promises during the streamline meeting that the reviews are gonna take only 10 days. So those are really good.
Yeah, but
That
they said
meeting was
6, 7
more than
months.
10 days ago. Have any things passed since that?
So
day?
let's see, but we have to give them a chance to see once there's like 200 applications, let's see if they can turn it around in 10 days.
Yeah.
We'll have any been turned around in 10 days.
Yeah, we just continue to be very focused in, what.
No is the answer though. You just.
Well, my planning applications, they have been turned around in less than 10 days.
Oh, okay. How do you feel?
Because there's only a few applications.
So what about that's all the post facto, I think there was a press release that came out today. I thought, I mean,
Well, okay, so the new idea is that we, as the zone captains, which are many of the members of the rebuild task force, are going to have a weekly meeting with the building official and maybe the city manager. Of course, they seem to take credit for coming up with this idea, this new idea of having zone captains, which was your idea many months ago.
It was a great idea.
You set them up. But okay, let's go along with that. Let's see how it works. We all want the same thing, which is this town to rebuild faster. So we'll play along. I mean, I'm hoping for the best, but
But
I
are
do
you
think-
going to play along? We're going to fight for it.
We'll go to the meetings and fight.
We'll go to the meetings, but I'm afraid if there are 10 people in a room,
Yeah, it'll all get diluted.
everybody talks for like 2.5 minutes.
Infomercial. right?
It's not going to be as effective as an experienced, knowledgeable developer talking one-on-one with somebody and trying to find solutions.
But we can always get organized, before.
I think we have to. Then we get to the mode, look, it's been made amply clear that our inputs from a collaborative standpoint isn't that welcome, right? I mean, the message that I'm getting is that, look, guys, we got this. We got this, so that's fine, so we now switch to the mode of, okay, if you've got this, then let's
see it.
Let's see it.
Yeah. How long do we let them prove to us that they're
The time is
in
up.
control?
The time is up.
So when do we check on results? What is the?
End of the
what
year.
what are the
Well,
metrics?
okay,
that we're
so
looking
here's
for?
the metric. We've been told that they're going to try to issue 100 permits by the end of the year.
Specify it.
100 by December.
Stand,
Permits.
still,
Stand by
building,
December.
prove in your bulldozers. We're going. That's what we were told.
We only
Rain or
have three.
shine, guys.
Well,
You're digging for the foundations.
We only have 3. Are we gonna get 97
One a
in
day.
3 months?
One a day.
Look, the other comment that the building official made the other day is that there is, if you get in your submissions right now for planning approval, there is a good chance you're gonna get your permits by the end of the year.
The construction permit.
The construction board is by the end of the year.
Yeah, but that's betting on the ability of the design team to get the geotechnical consulting
So you're making
engineer
a
in
certain time,
line.
you're making a 2 week
There's so many-
turnaround. Yeah, you're making a 2 week
Well,
turnaround.
as the building official in LA said, they have a 7-day turnaround and plan check. But their own, that's all they can be accountable for. If the design team for the homeowner then takes
But
3
you
months.
also, no, but there is some level of accountability from the city as well to the number of things that are being asked for, that they request.
This is what Joe is
How
saying.
many-
Don't require so much to
Don't
our
require
service
so much.
engineer.
Don't require so
That it
much.
takes them 3
Yeah,
months.
don't require so much from the grading guy, from the civil guy, from the TS guy, from the geo guy, from the fire guy, from the landscape guy. So a lot of this can be deferred, right?
So we need some clarity on what can be removed from
What can be deferred?
requirements.
Not
Can you have a
What can
defer
defer?
approval list on your cover sheet? So
The
for,
latest- the
for larger
latest-
projects that I've done, you have deferred approval lists on the cover sheet. You get a building permit, but you got 10 items that have to be submitted during construction.
That's
Just
right.
now
No,
they're
no,
at
No,
the-
the problem is
Example,
with
example,
foundation.
fire
sprinklers.
A
No,
foundation.
foundation is fires. The
But
foundation you can't
it's
mess
the
with.
critical path.
But that's fine, so keep that intact. But let me give you an example. Fire sprinklers.
No, that's always deferred.
But it's not always deferred. Right now, they're wanting it.
So the
Right now,
and
in
when
LA, the
construction
fire
starts.
sprinkler permits are always deferred. You get the permit,
Malibu
it's
did.
typical, but no. Right now, they're asking for it. And in order to get a fire sprinkler permit, you gotta get the waterworks to come certify your fire flow.
I see.
And then you gotta do the calculation.
Fees for the water.
And then you gotta do, get your sprinklers designed.
Yeah, that process
Around there, and that's
a
a
minimum
meter.
4 months.
Using your meter and everything approved and your backflow preventer thing.
So that's a 4-month
How
delay
can you
right
do that?
there.
How can you do that? But it is conceptually, there's no reason why it can't be deferred.
It should always be
I
deferred.
agree.
You can build a house, most you can have your backflow and all that stuff going on.
Most fire sprinkler designers never see anything until the permit is in hand.
Yeah.
It's weird to even give them yet approved or not yet approved drawings. Because then they'll say, well, it'll change during construction, and then they'll charge you again to change it again.
And it's bad when contractors don't ask the architects for the layout. You have your beautiful lights lining up, and you see the sprinkler now is not aligned.
Yeah.
I never crazy. So you have asked the architect always for the layouts.
But listen, these are the kind of things that happen real time. Okay, I don't like the sprinkler there, change it. You just get some more orange pipe and you stick it and you.
Each drawing
From
from
zero.
the set can be something beautiful, even your RCPs.
It should be.
Spoken like a true architect. But in any event, I think there is dependency on both sides, and the city can do enough to even reduce, the design professional's time that it takes.
Yeah, well, as Luis has asked repeatedly, give us the checklist of what's needed for plan check, right? They presented the planning checklist, very clear, but not yet the building plan checklist.
So they have
But they're about to have a
template which they were released. The problem is that they don't check what is required until you don't show up with all your plans from your engineer. So what if you missed something? That's why I proposed today at this Archistar meeting, why don't you, as soon as you give your plan approval, fill out the plan check requirements? Because you already know, you know the project, you have green stamped it.
I thought that's what the
Another
PV
scope of
was
work?
supposed to do.
The PV approves your plan, but then you have to figure out what you need for plan check, and they check before you submit. Tell me right before I arrange my consultants. It's like a little bit of babysitting. I know it sounds like it.
It's something they could add
It's
to the
gonna save
process.
so much time.
It would. It'd be a step of clarity in the right direction, right?
It's like helping, hey, you need a civil engineer to do grading plans. Sorry, like it's the type 3 grading. Tell me now, as soon as I get my plan approval, therefore I know which type of proposal request.
Did you guys see in the post-release, they call this whole rebuild ambassador thing an experiment?
No, they call it experiment.
They called it a little experiment.
The amount of
Some
time
experimentation on wildfire victims, that's fun.
The amount of time wasted last week and probably for many weeks prior trying to concoct a way to get rid of you. And now the amount of time spent on stupid PR to spin this as something that Malibu is in control of and kind of what they've planned all along is incredibly wasteful and insulting.
Threadbare.
We're glad they went for the experiment though. It was good.
Yeah.
It made change.
We had a good run.
It's like, I think I'm very
I
happy
call it
with
a successful experiment.
I think so.
So
I'm very proud of.
But it's
the
only
meaningful
3 to
change.
10% of what should happen, right?
I'm
So we
not
got
arguing he should
90%
never
to
have been
come.
there. I'm saying it's not an experiment. It should be a full-time position.
It should be.
I mean, but it's the first time that we do something like this in Malibu. Come
The
on.
thing is,
I'm
from the
super
Brad
great.
perspective, it was so successful that
on the
it
word
should be
experiment.
permanent.
You know, I mean, that gave me a chuckle. It's like, really, you know, it's like a guinea pig kind of like thing. You know, experiment.
Yeah, right.
Fire
Thanks for signing up. So have to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do we expect now? What do you think? What is next right now?
I mean, look, I mean, I think the spotlight is on, right? That our scorecard is miserable, absolutely miserable. I think there is going to be immense amount of pressure across the way. I don't, you know, they'll probably come at me with more personal stuff. I don't know what's.
But why? You've left that position, so
Yeah, but
why attack?
You know, they can't look at bad.
What I hope is that this pressure is like, hey, okay, you're not there anymore, but still help us a little bit, you know, and they still come back to us. And
I wish that was the case. I wish there was sort of an open mindset of, here, guys, you know, tell us, you know, what we can do, and let's sit down and collaborate. How many times have we offered our services to be in workshops? How many times have you asked if you can help with the orchestra thing or so on and so forth? This is free stuff, you know. This is the part that, you know, back when we were presenting in February, we said, there's so much local talent and knowledge that are willing to donate their time, because it gives it all of us. We are spending so much time doing this because this is a purpose like no other.
you guys spend every 5 hours on this.
Every family that can get home a day faster because of anything that we're saying or doing is enough gratification for us,
Yeah,
right?
and then something like this happens, and anybody who would be willing to volunteer, who has that talent, they're going to take a second look at it, say, screw that, I'm not going to put myself out there.
You should feel proud because you've truly helped a lot of people.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I've said this before, and I mean it every time I say it. When this guy called me and said my house was standing, I mean, it was a genuine, you know, I'm not a very spiritual guy, but if you looked at how the fires actually stopped short of burning my house down, it looked like there was some
The
sort of
fire
ownership
trapped
there.
your bedroom windows and then decided, looked inside and went somewhere else.
It burned my window shades.
Wow.
The window shades were burnt inside. And my bedroom coffee table, which was a wooden coffee table, was 2 feet away from the doors that had bust, and the house was burning.
And so you have that promise
And I had the fires come. I had the fires come from all 4 sides of my house. So anyway, when you look at something like that, I said, look, man, I mean, you know, you want to think about synchronicity, Carl Jung, whatever. There's something with defensible space zone 0 stuff. I don't know, whatever. But look, I mean, you know, I'm here. I'm right in the middle of it. I know how to build houses. I can help. So, and just like so many of us, it's not just me. I mean, so many of us collectively have donated times. I mean, you guys have spent endless hours counseling people, you know, walking them through architects. So many out-of-town architects are coming in not knowing what the hell to do, and we've spent hours and hours doing this stuff. So I don't think we're doing this for anything other than that sense of purpose. And it's not that often in life we get this opportunity to actually serve for a genuinely meaningful higher purpose. You know, I mean, so I mean, we'll continue to do that, of course.
Exactly, so people can know that they can still come to you, come to us. We're gonna try to help, even if not from an official
100%.
position. We're there. We know. how
That
it
was my
works.
other realization, is that, you know, what is this title anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't.
We don't need their permission to help.
Yeah.
Right.
We really don't, but it seemed like that title was, they opened the door a little bit.
On the
And
weekend,
on the weekend, they slammed it shut.
wasn't, but the door really wasn't that open mentally. I think it was open optically.
I see.
But I think every time I walked in and think there was like barriers set, and because it wasn't an exchange where you're kind of absorbing, let's work together, you know, kind of thing, a mutual exchange. And this has been the case from the get-go. We had the first workshop where all the architects came together, and, you know, homeowners and things like that. All of part, I mean, again, you kind of look back, it was like check the box. You know, we were kind of doing it for optics, take up pictures, put some social media posts. No bulk, and then bulk is right there. You know, so it's like, okay, well, I mean, are you really that interested?
You thought you were on the same page. You were coming in there to find solutions and help, and the other party might have been just trying to get through the meeting with you.
I think so.
Oh, it was all lip service.
I was just really disappointed. But now, guess what? The problems haven't gone away. There's still vacant lots out there. Now it's time to figure it out.
We want the fire victims to rebuild themselves. We don't want them to sell.
Yeah. And as I was driving up here, I saw many new for sale signs on PCH that weren't there
Well,
2 months ago.
Look, they say people need to come in and apply. People aren't stupid. They don't need their hands held. They don't need to be told to come into the rebuild center. They need to see a course of action that they can take. And when people start getting their permits approved in a timely fashion, I promise you, the floodgates will open and people will apply and get excited about building. But right now, it seems like you're entering a labyrinth with no escape.
And a never-ending bill.
3 people have found their way out of that labyrinth. Some by spending extraordinary amounts of money. They need to clear a path.
Yeah, it's in order to make the commitment, you need a timeline in mind. Without a timeline, because there's no clarity, nobody wants to make the commitment. That's completely fair. So for the city to say, well, there's not enough applicants for us to do our job, that's a BS line, because the lack of applicants is as a result of the city.
Well, and I know what, here's the thing.
The way the city's
You don't
acted
have-
for 20 years.
If you don't have enough applicants, then start working on the process improvements that you can do, right? I mean, the 12-step process to upload the plan on a portal.
Low-hanging
You know, we highlighted that, and now it's down to 6 steps. Okay, there are several other things, if you map out the process, which you've done 12 months back now, whatever, that can be done. So take the time to do all that. Get ready for when the deluge is gonna come. If you don't have the deluge yet, where does that happen?
Got the GIS PVDs done. We got the checklist for submission of documents. We don't have the checklist for corrections, but maybe one day. Payments, they told me they're trying to work on it, but I've been hearing that for months.
Fee waiver thing, is that sorted out yet?
The fee waiver is lower than with Woolsey because they want proof of ownership, but that's moving forward. That's where I heard.
But they're now processing applications, even if that affidavit and all that is.
But here's another point, though, is that even the affidavit thing, we had to fight for.
Yeah.
And these are such basic.
Mindset change. It's like, why?
These are such basic things. Why is it even being put in front?
Change is painful for two reasons.
One young city, though, why are they so entrenched in their crappy way of doing business? I don't understand
Change
that.
is painful for two reasons. One, you have to work a bit more. Two, you have to acknowledge that you didn't change that before. And why you didn't change this if it was so obvious? So it's like
It's not like we're New York City, so we only have 200 years of history, right?
No, so that's
third
we should be
year.
way more flexible.
Eradicate the bad history and move forward.
How many people did in Malibu? 6,000, 4,000 now?
Something like that.
6,000, I said.
6,000 almost?
6,000 before the fire. I don't know now. So like wherever it is.
The sign still says, I think, 13,000.
That's a long time ago.
Look, you need leadership. You need leadership that says, okay, guys, hey, team.
Be brave.
Hey, team. Each department, we need to go faster. Tell me, hey, John, tell me how your department could go faster. Susan, tell me how your department. Mary, how can you go faster? Please bring me ideas in a week. We're going to sit down, we're going to talk about them. We're going to figure out how to do this. That has not happened because apparently to some leadership, insecurity would make you feel like change, like you're saying. If we haven't changed already, then we admit we've made a mistake. No. Let's start from this
right now. We all make mistakes. We all
Absolutely,
change.
and we all learn.
There's a quote that I learned a couple of months ago, which is, can't, it's it's difficult to learn something and look good at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to be really open and learn something, you need to be open to look a little bit stupid.
You need to be open to humiliation.
Exactly. You need
Constant
to be
public
cool with that.
humiliation is
And a leader is okay with that.
That seriously is almost fortitude, and that takes enormous confidence.
Confidence is key. We need confidence in leadership.
Yeah. It's like when I was bungee jumping in New Zealand. It's like, I'm about to jump off, and he says, Mike, look at the camera and make yourself look good.
Hey, wait, New Zealand, did the Mowbray brothers fly you out?
Wait a second, you were like, we knew it.
Press!
What about my affair with the Chinese spy man? I mean, come on, you can't overlook that. No, it was only about 6 years before the Mowbray brothers thought about this land. So, sure. I'm sure that's going to cross their nose.
We're going to receive a call.
The bungee jumping certificate is right behind me. Anytime I'm on the Zoom call, somebody's going to pick up. Yeah, how are our bridge?
Bungee jumping is more scary than skydiving. I've done both. Bungee jumping is like, wow.
Bungee jumping, for the few moments before the cord actually yanks you, you don't know whether you're gonna get yanked or not. This is a whole fall, right?
That's like submitting a project in Malibu. You're going in there and then bungee jumping, good direction.
And the cord yanks you, and then you get yanked up and down the chute.
You're hoping it'll save you, but it's not hurt
You pull, you're like, huh.
All right, guys, another fun.
Thank you, Abe. Hey, what do we?
Thank you, Aaron, for everything. So
Full service.
So lucky to
Guys,
come.
I mean, look, I'm the spokesperson. I mean, I think we are a team. I always maintain that, and you know, even when I was resigning, the first thing I said, like, I can't do this unilaterally. I got to get people in, and I don't think 100% was on board, but most of us were. That
Your diplomacy, your patience, your capacity to listen to
And I'll
everybody.
point out, I remember that this is not about me or what I want to do. This is about me being the spokesman.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you.
It was a good one. Oh man.